Welcome back to the Fleet Connect Legacy Decoded podcast. Today I have Mr. Alexander. Say your last name for me because I don't want to mess it
Savenok.
up. Savenok. Alexander Savenok from Big Rig App. Now, full transparency, I wish this was around when I had my truck. I'd be stuck on side of the road maybe hours at a time waiting on someone and not even knowing who to call actually. So this was about 5 years ago. Thank God for technology, and that's kind of why we are doing this. We're big tech heads on this channel. And we just want to bring the best ideas, the best products and services to you guys, thought leaders that are actually, making an impact and driving real growth in trucking. Um, just starting off, Alex, I would love to know, for the people that have never heard of you before, just introduce yourself, how you got started in the industry, and like share a little bit about your role and how it fits into the bigger picture at Big Ray.
Yeah, so I got started in the industry. At the time, I was running a different tech company, but I met with one of my friends who was a mobile mechanic. He was living in Kansas City, and he was basically going bankrupt because he couldn't make enough money. That really got me into understanding and looking just for the sake of my friend, really, to understand why the market wasn't working and why, he lives in Kansas City. It's the middle of the country. There's a lot of trucks driving through here.
Mm,
Why? And they break down. Like I see them, they're broken down. There's a lot of breakdowns. There's a lot of volume, and he can't make enough money to provide for his family. And he's getting maybe one or two jobs a week max. So I did some digging. I realized that the problem was how drivers find mechanics, right? They go through Google. That means any city in the nation at the max has 10 shops or mechanics that are going to get, 90% of the volume, 90% of the breakdowns, 90% of the maintenance. And you go to one of those shops that appears in the top 10 in Google, and they probably have a line of 100 trucks standing outside waiting. Their price is really no better than anyone else's. The quality isn't better. All they've done is optimize a website. And that has nothing to do with how well they can repair, nothing to do with how the quality of their work, the price, anything. It's an absolutely irrelevant metric, right? Like how well you're optimized for Google. It has nothing to do with how you repair a truck. So
right.
that's what really clicked for me. I realized that the market was broken, and that those are the kind of markets that, I as an entrepreneur it's where I want to go. I want to
Mm,
go to fix broken things because that's where people really get like entrepreneurship in my mind isn't about, I make money by making people's life easier. Like that's the only
absolutely.
way you make money in this world, right? No one makes money by extortion, especially not in a free society. By going to jail, there are
Pretty
people who
much.
do that, but true, the people who make money and are those who've made someone's life easier.
Mm,
They've, made a product that helps somebody. So this is one area when I started looking, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is an area where I could probably help make people's life easier.
mm,
This does not make sense, and this is broken. And the more drivers I talked to, the more it kind of reinforced that everyone was always stuck for hours, calling for hours. And so that's kind of how we got started. So we now have probably around a network of 6,000 mechanics nationwide, all over the US. And we have places in a good chunk of the US where we submit a request for repair. We'll
mm,
get 3, 4, maybe 5 bids within 5 minutes. There are places that are slow, but that's, Montana's going to be slower than New York, and just because of the amount of people that live there and the distances it takes to travel and things like that. But we have a real network with mechanics that are responding, bidding. We've had, thousand, probably near 1,000 mechanics work through us already, just
mm,
probably the next last year. So it's a very fast growing network. We have a good amount of volume coming through every single day. And we're in the process of actually beta testing our fleet portal,
mm,
fleet.bigrig.app. So
mm,
that's, for anyone who's a fleet manager, fleet owner, operator, if they're interested, they could write me and let me know if they want to be a part of it, and we could start testing with them. And I think that that's going to be the most interesting thing, because the way that
mm,
works is that we connect directly into their Samsara data set or Motive. We're probably going to work on Geotab and others later, so that the moment they connect it and they immediately import all of their units. So if a unit breaks down, they're not just telling a mechanic where the unit is. We're pulling that data from the device. We're pulling fault codes, vehicle information, VIN, code, you can add pictures, and then send all of that off to a mechanic and get 4 to 5 bids. So not only are you get quick bids at
Mm,
like record speeds, you could submit a very large amount of data, like fault codes, images, everything,
mm,
very quickly to hundreds of mechanics.
mm,
And data is so important in a breakdown because it could be the difference between a 4 hour repair and a 30-minute repair. Because if the
mm.
mechanic doesn't know what he's going to repair,
Right.
he's going to be making multiple trips to get parts, or if he thinks it's something that it's not, you're just going to lose more time and money.
And money. Yeah.
The data you give to a mechanic is so critical. That's what we want to make sure. One, we improve the communication between mechanics and drivers and fleet operators as much as possible. And the best way to do that is really to eliminate the human factor. What I mean by that is when we talk, we miscommunicate usually. But if
Mm,
I can get data directly from a ELD device and pull the fault codes, the geographic coordinates, the chances of that being wrong is pretty low compared to
mm,
me miscommunicating with you or
mm,
a driver miscommunicating their location. Those are the kind of things that we're working on, and we'd love to get more people to test with us,
mm.
because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a pretty revolutionary product. So
Yes. Yes.
we're
Yes.
we're excited to get it out here in the next few months. But yeah, that's the basics of who we are and what we're doing. So just a quick,
Yeah, man. That was I didn't know anything about that specifically, but the first part is awesome. The better part is going to be even more awesome because that data point is definitely going to be a game
yeah,
changer as far as reliability, saving time and money, right? Because
yeah,
mechanics actually know what to come out and diagnose.
yeah.
So super cool. Just curious, how many beta users are you looking to kind of get just to start?
So we probably have 900 units right now in beta. We want to get to close to 10,000. So we probably need 4 or 5 more fleets that are large or mid-sized, 50 to 100 units, maybe 10, 10 to 15. We don't want to blow it up too much because
Mm,
one, right now we're basically letting them test for free. We're not
mm,
charging anything. We have to make money somehow through it eventually, but right now it's free, so anyone who uses it is going to get it. And we're probably going to give a pretty sweet discount to whoever does the beta testing with us,
nice.
but we don't want to give that out to too many people. So 10 to 15
Gotcha.
fleets max.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Hopefully Fleet Connect can definitely help with that
Yeah.
initiative. We'd definitely like to add value where we can. So what does a typical day look like for you?
Ooh. My typical day. I have 9 kids.
Wow.
So my typical day begins with probably making sure my kids are alive and they've eaten. At school. Then do most of the programming in our company. I do it myself. We keep a pretty
Mm,
small. We're a very small team, so 90% of my day is probably focused on building new things for our customers.
mm,
At least Monday and Tuesday. I mean, Monday I have several meetings with investors, my team. I'm probably going to have a team meeting scheduled today or tomorrow, talking about how we can incorporate more solutions that fleets can build on. Because for fleets, the way I see it is all about optimization, right? We have a call center. We operate that call center. I handle 20 breakdowns with 4 people.
mm,
Most fleets, if they're handling 10 to 20 breakdowns a day, they probably have a team of 20 to 30 people. Like,
mm,
because it takes one person at least, to get one person 2 to 3 hours to handle a breakdown just using the normal route. So you probably handle 1 to 2 breakdowns most. So your team is probably 10 to 20 if you're handling 20 breakdowns. My team's only 4 people max because of the platform we built to help optimize that. And we're meeting, looking at ways to make that even more efficient. So my day looks like, taking my kids to school, waking up, eating breakfast, then I usually work out in the mornings, and then I'll have meetings in the morning and then do some programming in the afternoons.
mm.
I often will work late nights and Sundays. I take Saturdays off, but everything else is probably, I have an entrepreneurial owner schedule, which probably means I work
All the time.
all the time. I work at 10, 11, 12 p.m. I'll wake up and work at 5 a.m. and then I'll work again probably in the afternoon. And
There's always something to
you
do.
gotta love what you're doing
All right.
to live this way.
Absolutely, man. I mean, when you're making a big impact and you're looking to help a lot of people, man, it requires a lot of time and attention, right?
Yeah, you
You're not building anything small by any means, so of
Yeah, I mean,
course.
the one thing I realized early on is the reason we end up working this hard is because of we have to we have to learn, and the only way we learn a lot of times in the market is by trying and failing.
Correct.
And the more times you try and fail, the more likely you are to succeed. So it's a strange paradox that failure often leads to success, but the
I
more
know.
you try and fail, the more likely you are to succeed. That's really
A lot of people are have a fear of failing, right?
yeah. I'd say that the majority of the world is living life afraid of failure.
Mm,
It's it's not easy. I think I've faced bankruptcy multiple times in my life doing startups, and I don't know how to live in any other way. So
mm, that makes
wife,
sense.
I have an amazing wife. Basically, that's all
Helps
I can
out a
say.
lot, right?
She's gone through a lot, and she's amazing.
But man, that's a blessing. That's a blessing for sure. Okay, cool, man. That's interesting. I love the work schedule. Sometimes mine is just as intense.
I honestly don't like when you ask me about my schedule. I don't know when work stops and starts.
Yeah.
I wish I did. I basically suspect that work is going to stop for me
Mm,
when I retire, and I don't know when that's going to happen at this point.
absolutely. I don't think you're gonna retire, man. I don't think you have it in you.
Nah, I don't feel like I'll be retiring anytime soon. I have 9 kids. I mean, that's like it's going to keep me running for.
That's a
I'm
full-time job by itself.
almost 40, and my youngest is 6 months old. So I got to put him
Okay.
through college. So that's going to at least 20 years of work right there.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well, man, just curious because you've grown such a vast network, and I know you have a call center. How big is the team?
It's like 5 people.
5 people.
Yeah.
Man, so the call center was able to kind of help build that mechanic network for you guys, and then also help with
So we started off with an app, but we realized that we needed to get we needed to generate volume before we had to solve what's called the chicken or the egg problem, right?
Mm,
Like either get mechanics or drivers. So
mm,
we figured we could generate demand using a call center and then fit those requests into our app. And we started just serving requests to our mechanics using a call center through our app. And
mm,
the key was to ensure that the mechanics were using our app to submit bids, because then the system would actually become efficient, right?
mm,
If you just use a call center and just then call them and get a bid and just manually do everything, you're just doing what everyone else has done. It doesn't really change anything. The key was really, if we're doing a call center, we're going to make sure to build the tools that will allow us to quickly get bids from mechanics, quickly get responses from them. There's a lot we do that's really like cutting edge stuff. Like
mm,
we know we do things with text messages that most businesses aren't going to
mm,
touch for the next 3 years, probably next 5 years. So and it's helped us get response rates and data quickly from mechanics. So I think one of our biggest competitive advantages is the fact that we have a good understanding of technology, but my previous startup was actually a social network. So I had to learn the value of building a network and how to do that and why it's so difficult and
mm.
things that work in building networks. And that's how we were able to build our network of mechanics. It's actually my experience with building social networks, which is funny, but it's the way it worked. People are people.
Yeah, it had to happen in order for you to get here, right?
Yeah, and if you think about it, the 18-year-old girl isn't that different from a mechanic, and the reason is that they're both looking for value, right?
Mm,
The girl is looking for something that she values in a video feed, something that's important, and the mechanic is looking for something important. You
mm,
have to understand what's important to the people before you're able to get them to use your product. If you don't understand what they value and why it's important, you have no way of communicating to your customers, to vendors, to anybody. So the first thing for me was understanding what's important,
mm,
understanding where they are, and making sure it's as easy as possible for them
mm,
to start working with us. So minimize that barrier and make it gradual, right? So have different stages of engagement. So I'm not asking for the bank account from the first meeting, right? I'm
Right.
like, hey, I need to transfer money to your account sometime. That just freaks people out. So just things like that. Just make sure people's journey in using your product is easy, and understand what their value is, and understand how to reduce the pain of using your product. I think that helps a lot.
Great insights, man. Great insights. Well, let's kind of pivot a little bit because we unpacked a lot. And I know you're a big data guy, data driven. What major shifts are you kind of seeing in the industry right now?
Well, I would say that the biggest shifts I'm seeing, and then like the last 2 to 3 years have been difficult. Like I mean, it's and usually when things get difficult, people kind of start, you know, innovation kind of suffers a little bit in one sense. So a lot of what I've seen is, we see a lot of units that just are getting really old. They're not being renewed. I know but that's what I see every single day is fleets are not able to renew and renew their leases like they used to.
Mm,
And data, like a lot of times they'll begin to pinch pennies and eventually just, it hurts them in the long run, but they can't really think past, 3 months. That's what I've been seeing a lot. And my perspective is I deal with people who are probably going to be angry at me because I'm going to tell them their unit's going to be broken or something. Like we get people on the worst days. Like
mm.
if you ask me what's going on with the industry, everyone is angry and nobody likes me because that's basically what's happening every single day. Like if I'm dealing with breakdowns, I get to talk to people on their worst day almost
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
happens 20 times a
Wow.
day. So it's a my perspective is probably going to be a little more negative than other
Mm,
people because no one wants
yeah.
to know that their transmission's gone and they can't really drive.
Yeah.
It happens though.
Mm,
You get to see some of the sad thing is I get to see a lot of guys just give up a lot of times because their unit's just dead and they just leave their
yeah.
unit, find a ride home, and and that's done. And that's the sad part, and that's one of the things I hope we can help alleviate, because the difference I've seen, the difference between a successful fleet and an owner operator is really information.
Mm,
So we can help give people information. So give me an example. So some of the best fleets we see operate, the data why they're different is that they have mechanics that work for them that don't just diagnose what's broken, but they tell the mechanic how to fix it.
mm,
They reduce the cost by $400 to $500. On, let's say, a $1,500, breakdown, they could reduce it down to $900 because they'll give instructions that help reduce the cost. They don't use, certain parts. They'll do triage, get it to the shop and repair it there. That kind of information is really difficult for an owner operator to get, and really even a smaller fleet. But that information really is a significant competitive advantage. So one of my dreams, like an idea I have is, there's a lot of mechanics out there who are too old to go and do mobile repair anymore. Like they're
mm,
past 50, they can't lift 200-pound tire. Like they're not gonna, or they're past, they're maybe in the late 50s, 60s, but they have the knowledge, information up here.
mm,
Giving those guys the opportunity to work with owner operators as consultants during breakdowns, to give them advice on how to handle a breakdown. So because the idea of a fractional mechanic, think about that, like
mm,
fractional mechanic advisor, the owner operator doesn't have to pay an arm and a leg. They're maybe
right.
paying $100 a month, but this mechanic is going to be giving them information that's going to be saving them thousands of dollars on maintenance and thousands on breakdowns and all that kind of information. So that I think is also something we want to see happen, because I think that's going to be as impactful and transformational to the owner operators as our network is for fleets and everybody else, because it's going to help guys stay on the road longer, operate better. And in terms of data, one of the things we see is we see units break down, and because we're connecting ELD unit devices, we can start, our goal is to track, the longevity of units, see if we can identify faulty parts, trends in breakdowns. So using AI to predict breakdowns, that's another big thing, we want to do. So a lot of stuff that's data related or information, I
Mm,
mean, that we want to do in the future that I think is going to really transform how, little guys operate and also transform how big fleets can
mm,
operate. Whether it's predicting when a unit might break or predicting when maintenance needs to be done, not based on a predicting when certain things need to be maintained based on real life data and
mm,
breakdown and statistics from actual breakdowns instead of manufacturer, you know, instead of the manufacturer. Because the manufacturer, my bet is he's going to skew towards getting you in earlier
mm.
and getting those parts replaced earlier or doing the maintenance earlier because they also make money off maintenance. So
Yeah,
getting real
absolutely.
data on all of that, I think, is where we want to take it. Create a way to get information on breakdowns and maintenance that doesn't include the manufacturer because they're
Mm,
kind of incentivized to encourage you to come in more often than you should. So,
correct.
how real is that? Are all
Right.
those, all the maintenance schedules that and there's a lot of best practice out there that really comes out, not from actual experience, but just, someone's in corporate. The engineers probably made a calculation, but testing it in real life versus, actual, just taking, someone's calculations.
Mm,
That's what I want to do. Like that's
yeah,
where we want this long term. Get real data to fleets, get real information on breakdowns to owner operators, and make sure that breakdowns, if they're going to happen, we're not going to avoid them, but they become less painful for everybody. And then people like me more because they're not going to, yell at me.
absolutely. Man, data is important. Accurate data is super important. The educational piece of just educating, right? Having mechanics save even more money by being able to actually consult and give those educational pieces. We've always ran or kept the culture of our community based on education and resources. Is that something that you're looking to like kind of like implement into the application, or is that something going to be totally separate?
Right now, it's an idea. We could put it into our app where you can, click a button, look at mechanics, talk to them, and see who you want to, hire as a fractional consultant, and then you have a button in the app where if you're broken down, you press it and call. That's possible. All the technology exists to make that possible,
Mm,
but it's still an idea. Haven't really moved
mm,
doing that, but it's just a thing. I feel like getting that done is a possibility now because we have a real network, real mechanics.
mm.
And in a few years, some of the guys who are working a lot for us right now might be closer to, hey, I can't keep doing this, but I would love to, I would love to consult and get owner operators, you know, good information on during a breakdown or on maintenance, help them maintain the units better, things like that.
Awesome, man. So, what's working well for you right now, and kind of what's been most frustrating just growing the company?
What's working well? I think it's easy for us to get mechanics to use our product. Very
Uh,
easy, and we're adding a lot of mechanics every single I'd say month. The things that we're struggling through right now is finishing, our product and communicating why it's valuable to fleets, why
mm,
it's important, and why they should care.
mm.
So all the marketing that goes into it, building up the product for the fleets, letting them know how to use it, testing all of it. Those are, I think, our big pain points right now.
So when you speak about marketing, are you guys like thinking about educational content as far as social media? Is it more like master classes, webinars?
Oh, I don't honestly, it's probably going to be a combination of several things. So we've
Mm,
thought about doing things like, sponsoring educational videos. We've thought about doing conferences and trade shows. We've thought about billboards. We thought about social media,
mm,
influencers, LinkedIn, text messaging. So we
mm,
have probably a list of probably 2 to 3,000 fleets that have done work, fleets and owner operators that done work with our call center.
mm,
We could, use that data to send out text messages with, very rich data, and, almost telling them about our product and how it works, from the app to the portal. So there's a lot of marketing that we need to get to.
mm.
Just honestly need to get a lot of this product done so that we can finish the building out the product, so we can get into the marketing phase of a lot of this.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. As far as metrics, when you're growing the company, which metrics specifically have you guys been focused on improving?
I mean, as a tech startup, it's cost of user acquisition from
Mm,
start to finish, basically. That's the cost of user acquisition, and then net revenue per user.
mm,
So that I think is the most important thing. So we want to make sure if we're going to be acquiring a customer that we return the money from that acquisition within 3 to 6 months. So if it costs us $150 to acquire a customer, we want to make, 150 within 3 months off of breakdown subscriptions or something like that. Those are, general ideas on
mm,
those aren't, those are just random numbers, but that's
mm.
the idea. So cost of user acquisition and then payback period and net revenue per customer. Those are the things I focus on every day. We work with several we have several VCs that have invested in us, and they drive that every week. That's where, as a business, we're always looking at those numbers.
Perfect. And do you feel like the marketing piece is what actually kind of drives the growth for those numbers specifically, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. The cost of acquisition is directly tied to how you market.
Mm,
And the more effective your marketing medium is, the lower your cost, which means the cost of your product doesn't have to be as high. So if I can acquire a customer for $10 versus 150, I only need to charge $10 a month to repay within 3 months. Versus, if I charge if it costs me 150, I have to charge $50 a month to repay within 3 months. If I repay within 6 months, I suppose it's a little better, but still much higher than if that cost of acquisition was $10.
awesome, man. And where do you guys think our hope to be? Like, what's the projection? Like the next 6 to 12 months, what does that look like for Big Rig?
So we want to we probably want to get 25 fleets using our product by the end of the year.
Mm,
And then from there, once we roll, because that would probably still be in beta, release our production version by January, and then probably want to get, to 1,000 fleets within the first year. That would be great. I mean, we'd be making a good amount of money. We need to talk to fleets and see, what kind of uh, price points, there'd be, we want to
mm,
understand what they're looking at, because we could do this as a subscription, we could do this as a transaction thing, because the subscription has several benefits to it. Like, we could do more with a subscription versus transaction, because now we're making money every month, and we can start providing things like data insights, and it's not a transaction. No one's broken down, but we could tell you stuff
mm,
and pay for those. You get to pay for those insights, because we spend a good amount of money making the
mm,
product to make that. So, but there's also probably going to be some form of product that's subscription, transactional. We just need to understand what that's going to be, what's going to be free, what's going to be paid, where those lines are going to be, what the prices are going to be, how that scales up. That's really going to be, and that's where the first 10 to 15 fleets that come in are going to be very instrumental. They're going to
mm.
help us, sort of walk through all of that, and customers are critical to building anything.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we talk to them often.
Yeah, feedback is important, man. And if you could solve one major problem today, what would that be?
I mean, for me personally,
Hmm.
anything, or just in the industry.
Both. I guess it'd be two major problems.
Mm, well, I'm Russian and my wife is Ukrainian, so if the war in Ukraine would end, I would be very happy.
Nice.
That has hurt my family a lot. So the other thing would be in the industry. I think that the industry, like, there's a bias against technology for whatever reason. A lot of times, like, 'cause if it looks too nice or it works well, like, sometimes you kind of get discounted because so many people have pitched products that just don't work.
Mm,
Or so I wish the industry had more technology that was built well. Then I
mm,
wouldn't have as part of, like, it would be easier for us to sell. Like, there's been so much, the trucking industry, for whatever reason, gets, like, the crap of all software products almost always. Like,
mm.
I remember going to trade shows and walking through. I'm like this is stuff that was built and developed probably 20 years ago, and it's still the primary thing. And everyone hates it, and everyone therefore hates technology because they believe this is technology. Like this
Right.
product is what technology is, and therefore they hate technology. And when I come to them with the technology product, they just immediately hate me because I talk about technology. But their
Mm,
problem is that they use bad technology, not good technology.
mm,
Good technology makes your life easier. So if
right.
I could solve anything, I wish there were better products in this market because then there would be more trust
Mm.
to the tech startup. This industry is just filled with bad products that end up making it harder for good products to survive.
No, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that. And that's kind of why I wanted to build this channel, man, because we're big into AI. We're big into automations, right?
Mhm.
And that's kind of some of the nuances we've seen is, trucking companies kind of being slower to adopt technology to kind of speed up their processes. But of course, again, it's a lot of bad products out there, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to decipher. But you did give me some great ideas, as you just said that I think would definitely help as well. But that is super industry, and I believe that is like an industry-wide issue for sure.
hmm I've been to a few trade shows. I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, there are some good ones, but I,
There
I
are some
believe,
good ones. I'm not saying there aren't, but
yeah,
I'd say for every good one, there's five that I don't know why they're still alive.
absolutely.
I don't know
There's
how
a
they.
lot of there's a lot of old ones too.
Yeah.
People using some old technology, man. Like you said, 20 years ago, right? It's really technology is moving fast. It's advancing super quick, and people can kind of use that to again enhance their lives, their businesses, right?
hmm
Well, yeah. Well, let me ask you this: if there was like one or two really great nuggets that you would go back and tell yourself when you just got started, what would those things be?
When I just got started, I would probably tell myself to simplify things
Mm,
because I have a tendency, like I love building with technology, and that's often the thing I would start with first.
mm,
But a lot of what I built, I just had to throw away because no one wanted to use it. So
mm,
the first thing I tell myself is simplify, go and figure out how to make this simple first, and then make it complicated then make it complicated if you have to.
mm,
So yeah, that's what I would suggest. A lot of times, you like the problem with advice is that it's very generic, right? Like simplify things is hard to do.
mm,
Yeah, I wish I knew everything I know today. I could probably build what it took me 3 years to build within 3 months because I just know where all the potholes are. But that's just not the way life is.
yeah, yeah. Well, cool, man. Man, this has been great. Thanks for sharing these insights. Is there anything else that you would love to leave the audience with? If you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay of this, just drop any questions in the comment section. Also, let us know if you're a mechanic, you definitely should check out Big Rig. If you are a carrier company, I definitely think you should be checking out Big Rig. I'm surprised that I haven't heard of you guys just yet, but I think we're
Yeah,
gonna,
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we're in a beta still. I
yeah,
have been pushing it, and a lot of times when people hear about us, like what, like why haven't we heard of you before? Yeah, we have been around for 3 years, but a
mm,
lot of what we've been doing is really building our network because
yeah,
the few fleets that used our product early on said that the same thing over and over again. Well,
mm,
we'll use it once you get mechanics, because
mm,
otherwise, this is just it's cool technology, but it really doesn't solve anything.
mm,
So that's where we started 3 years ago. And now we're at the place where we really have a network that we can build on and deploy a product on, and that's where we want to take these. That's what we're planning on building and where we're going to take it. So anyway, the one thing I'd say is that if anyone's interested, any fleet out there, anyone who's interested in participating in a beta, the beta we're doing right now, just write me, Alex at bigrig.app. It's very simple.
mm.
I'll get you guys connected. We have maybe 5 to 10, 10 to 15 more spaces left. I don't expect that to last for too long. So reach
No,
out, let me know, and then you guys get to shape the future of what we're doing.
Yeah, man, I definitely don't think those spots will last too long. So if you're watching this, you definitely need to reach out now and save some time and money because I know this is something that'll definitely change a lot in the business. Alex, thank you so much for hopping on with us, man. I really do appreciate this. And again, we will be doing what we can to help you guys. Are you in our Facebook group just yet?
Oh no, no, I don't really. I have people managing most of my social
Okay, gotcha,
stuff, so
gotcha.
I could. We have a pretty big. We're in a lot of mechanic groups right now, but we're not in any Fleet Connect. Like, how much people do you have in the group?
Yeah, this one specifically, we're approaching about 53,000 members.
Oh, okay, that's
Not to
cool.
say everyone is a truck owner. It's a mix of pretty much everybody, really. Brokerages, logistics companies, 3PLs. We got fleets. We got, truck owners, 1 to 5, independent dispatchers in there. So it's a mixed bag. But of course, we wanted to, we feel like we want to serve a bigger audience this year. So, our biggest thing is just getting more fleet owners in there. So we're growing out our fleet network.
Sweet.
So we
Yeah,
do have the,
I'd love to get. We'd love to get in. And post stuff if you guys let us.
no, 100%, man. Feel free to come in and
Yeah, just
post.
send me some information about your Facebook group by email. I'll have my team look at it. The team is one guy who is my brother, so
Mm,
I'll have my brother look at it. He's the
no,
social. By saying
100%, man.
by saying team, I just make it seem more fancy,
Yeah,
official.
I love that. I do that sometimes too. No, but truthfully, man, we'd love to have you guys in there. Post as much as you want. Become a voice in the community. People join communities, but they don't really, we look at communities different.
Hmm.
We like to meet everybody that comes through the community and kind of see what the challenges are, get that feedback, that market research, right? So we can kind of be,
I
get
would
better at
love
what
to
we're doing.
get feedback from your Facebook community because if it's that diverse and you have brokerages, you have fleets, you have owner operators, we would love to get their feedback on what's going on our product.
Mm.
That would be very critical very important to us. So definitely going to take a look at it.
Sounds good, man. Well, again, Alex, thank you so much. And
Great.
yeah, if you're watching this, I hope you got an immense amount of value. I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure if you reach out to Big Rig that they will have no issues helping you guys out. And stay tuned for the next one. See you
Okay.
guys over and
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. God bless.